Let's dive into this neuromarketing thing, this curiosity gap. We've got a doc here, looks pretty interesting, all about curiosity gap techniques, and a video, too. A whole intro to neuromarketing. Sounds like some pretty powerful stuff no matter what you're doing, right? Whether you're running a small business or a big brand.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you get how the brain works, you can completely change your whole marketing game.
I like that. So, curiosity gap. Let's start there. What about those headlines? The ones you just have to click. Or email subject lines. What is it about those? What's the psychology there?
Oh, it's all about, it's like we're hardwired to want answers, right? Like an unanswered question just bugs us. It's actually a thing. The Zeigarnik effect, it's called. Basically, unresolved stuff just stays in our minds way more than stuff we've, finished. So what smart marketers do is they make content that poses a question. That way, you're left craving the answer. Get it?
Oh, totally. Makes sense. Like when you get to the end of a chapter in a book and you just need to know what happens next.
Exactly. And that's just like one little piece of it. Neuromarketing goes way deeper. It uses stuff like brain scans and biometric data to get a peek into the subconscious, the stuff that really drives our decisions without us even knowing it.
So you're saying we go past those old school marketing surveys and we actually see how our brains are reacting.
Imagine you could actually see someone's brain light up when they see your ad. You know exactly what's grabbing their attention, right? fMRI, for instance, actually measures brain activity by detecting changes in blood flow. Pretty cool, huh?
Wow, wild. So we're talking about literally seeing the buy button in the brain.
Well, not a literal button, but you know what I mean. We can track emotional responses, attention, memory, all that. There's also EEG, which measures brain waves, and even eye tracking to see what people focus on.
Oh, wow. Powerful stuff. Reminds me of that movie Minority Report, where they use eye scanners for those personalized ads. Hopefully it won't get that crazy, though.
Yeah, let's hope not. But seriously, this kind of insight is so valuable for, making marketing that really works.
Okay, so we've got this curiosity gap thing, playing on how we need answers. Then there's neuromarketing, giving us this peek into the subconscious. So how do we put the two together, in the real world of marketing?
That's where this curiosity gap marketing exploration document comes in.
Right.
It's got these 3 design challenges: email subject lines, social media hooks, and landing pages, all using the curiosity gap.
Nice. So emails first. I'm always trying to nail the perfect subject line. What's the document say about those?
One that really stood out was, "You won't believe what your biggest competitor is doing now."
Ooh, I like that. Definitely plays on that fear of missing out, I have to open that email to see what my competitor was up to.
Yeah, that's the point. It uses that specific knowledge gap. What is my competitor doing?
Yeah.
And it doesn't give you the answer right away, so you got to open the email to find out.
It's almost like a reverse psychology or something. You want to know what you're not supposed to.
You got it. It's all about asking that compelling question that just demands an answer.
All right. Speaking of compelling, what about social media? I mean, you only have a split second to grab someone's attention when they're scrolling.
Yeah, you're right. Well, the document had this example. Why deleting your social media could make you more successful.
Whoa. That's definitely not what you'd expect. It makes you think, aren't we supposed to be on social media all the time to be successful?
Yeah, that's the hook. We think a certain way, and then, boom, they challenge our assumptions. Now, you have to know why they're saying that. You're curious.
Makes sense. But it can't just be any random statement, right? It has to be believable. Otherwise, it's just clickbait.
Absolutely. This refinement question section of the document really makes that point about finding the balance between intrigue and credibility. You want to get people interested, but not trick them.
Right. So how do we make sure that the payoff is good? We don't want someone clicking through and then being what was that all about?
That's the key, right? The information has to be valuable. It has to be relevant to the question you asked. And it's got to come at the right time, too.
Oh, yeah. Timing. You can't drag things out forever, but you don't want to give it all away too soon either. It's like a comedian timing their punchline just right.
Uh-huh. Perfect analogy. It's all about finding that sweet spot where the anticipation builds and the payoff is totally worth it.
Okay, so we talked about emails, social media. What about landing pages? Those have to grab your attention right away, too.
The document talks about this thing called progressive curiosity. It's instead of throwing all this info at people at once, you reveal it little by little, question by question.
How interesting. So it's kind of like building a story. Keep them engaged by teasing what's coming next.
Exactly. Imagine you land on this page for a new productivity app. Instead of hitting you with all the features, it asks, feeling overwhelmed by your to-do list.
Oh, yeah. That's me, for sure.
Right. Then it gives you just a little bit of info about like how to overcome that feeling. And then, boom, another question. What if you could manage your entire day in just 10 minutes?
Oh, clever. So each section is like its own little cliffhanger.
Yeah. And by holding back the full solution, you keep people hooked. They really want what you're offering.
All this is really interesting, but I'm wondering, is this whole curiosity gap thing like ethical? It feels a bit, I don't know, manipulative maybe?
Well, that's where understanding why people do what they do is important. You know, neuromarketing shows us that we're just wired to respond to new things, surprises, the need for closure, all that.
So it's more like we're working with how people's brains work, not tricking them.
Exactly. It's about making marketing that feels like helpful, not intrusive.
Yeah.
When you do it right, it can actually be kind of like fun for the person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So we talked about like individual pieces of content, emails, posts, that kind of thing. But what about putting it all together? Can we use the curiosity gap across different channels?
That's the final challenge in the document, actually. Creating a multi-touchpoint campaign. Like, imagine you start with an email, just a little teaser, hinting at a new product.
Interesting.
Then you have social media posts, revealing little clues, building excitement, and finally, the big reveal on a landing page.
So it's one big story that unfolds over time, and you're using the curiosity gap to keep them engaged at every step.
Exactly. And each step has to deliver something worthwhile, pushing the person further down the funnel.
This is really making me think. I can see how this applies to so many things, like writing blog posts, presentations, all kinds of stuff.
That's the thing about these principles. Once you understand them, you start seeing them everywhere. And you can use them in any kind of communication, really, where you're trying to get people engaged.
So it's bigger than just clicks and views, right? It's about making content that really connects with people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And leaves them wanting more. So we were talking about creating a story.
Yeah, stories. Everyone loves a good story, right? It's like sitting around a campfire listening to someone tell a story.
Exactly. And what makes a good storyteller? They know how to pace things, how to reveal just enough to keep you hooked, but they don't give away the whole picture right away.
Right. They keep you guessing, like, what's going to happen next.
And that's what we're doing with the curiosity gap, really. Creating a narrative that unfolds over time across different touch points, you could say, keeping the audience engaged, making them want to see what happens next.
So it's not just about, like, a catchy headline or a clever social media post. It's about the whole story, the bigger picture.
Exactly. And that's where neuromarketing comes in. It helps us understand how the brain responds to different storytelling techniques.
Wait, so you're saying, like, we can actually see how the brain reacts when someone hears a good story?
You got it. Studies have shown that when we're engaged in a story, different parts of our brain light up, like areas associated with emotion, memory, even motor function.
Motor function? What? Like, our brains are acting out the story?
In a way, yeah. It's called embodied cognition. The idea that our minds and bodies are, like, totally connected. So when you hear a story about someone running, for example, the parts of your brain that control running actually activate, even though you're just sitting there.
Wow, that's crazy. So using storytelling in marketing, it's not just about the mind then. We're tapping into people's bodies and emotions too.
Exactly. It creates this like much deeper level of engagement. Think about the last time a story really captivated. You should probably felt all kinds of emotions, right? Excitement, suspense, maybe even joy.
And you probably remember that story way better than something you just like read in a textbook.
Exactly. Because it was an experience, not just information.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? I mean, not everyone is a natural storyteller, right?
No, but that's okay. There are frameworks we can use. Like, think about the classic hero's journey, Yeah. The hero faces a challenge, overcomes obstacles, and comes out changed. We can use that structure for almost any marketing message, really.
So, the hero could be our ideal customer. The challenge is a problem they're facing, and our product or service is the solution that helps them overcome it.
You got it. And by framing it as a story, we're tapping into those deep psychological mechanisms that make stories so powerful,
I like that. It's like we're giving our customers a chance to be the hero of their own story.
Exactly. And that's what good marketing's all about, right? It's not just about selling something. It's about empowering people, giving them the tools to achieve their goals.
And with the curiosity gap and neuromarketing, we can do that in a way that's effective, but also ethical.
Exactly. We're not manipulating anyone. We're working with their natural desires.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong with marketing. They think it's all about, like, tricks and deception.
But it doesn't have to be that way. When we understand how the brain works, we can make marketing that's actually helpful and valuable.
This is all really eye-opening. I'm starting to see marketing in a whole new way now.
I'm glad to hear that. And remember, this is just the beginning, really. There's so much more to learn about neuromarketing.
Well, we'll have to save that for another time, I guess. Let's take a quick break and give our listeners a chance to process all this.
Sounds good. We'll be back soon with even more insights in part 3.
And we're back. Back to neuromarketing and this whole curiosity gap thing. It's been quite a ride so far.
Yeah, it has. We've talked about, well, a lot, really. The psychology of curiosity, storytelling, you name it.
My brain's definitely getting a workout here. But I'm starting to see how it all, like, fits together, you know.
That's what's so cool about neuromarketing, I think. It takes all these different ideas, psychology, storytelling, brain science, and it combines them into this, like, understanding of how we connect with things.
It's almost like, I don't know, having a superpower. Being able to, like, decode what makes people tick and then make marketing that really resonates with them, you know?
Maybe not a superpower, haha, but it definitely gives you an advantage. And the best part is, it's always changing. There's always something new to learn, new stuff to try.
That makes me think, we've talked a lot about how great the curiosity gap is, but is there ever a time when it's, like, not the best way to go, when maybe being more direct is better?
Oh, that's a good question. We have to remember the curiosity gap is just a tool. And like any tool, sometimes it's not the right one for the job. Sometimes being straightforward is just more effective, especially when you need to build trust.
Right. Like, if you're talking about something sensitive or sharing important information, you wouldn't want to create all this, like, unnecessary suspense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine a company announcing a new privacy policy or something. They need to be clear about the changes, not try to be all mysterious.
So it's about knowing, like, when to use the curiosity gap and when to just be upfront.
Yeah. And that comes with experience, you know? Paying attention to how people react to different things. That's the cool thing about neuromarketing. It gives us ways to measure those responses so we can adjust our strategies and get better over time.
So it's not about, like, following some rigid formula. It's more about being flexible, learning as you go, and always trying to connect with people in a more genuine way.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's like seeing marketing as a conversation, you know,
Yeah.
a back and forth where we're all learning and growing together.
This makes it way more interesting, for sure. It's not just about selling stuff. It's about understanding people, connecting with them.
It's about creating experiences that, like, really stick with people.
Yeah.
Long after they've, seen your ad or whatever.
This has been, wow, such an inspiring deep dive. I'm definitely walking away with a new appreciation for, like, the potential of marketing.
I'm glad to hear that. And remember, this is really just the beginning. There's so much more to explore with neuromarketing.
Well, we'll have to keep learning then. So, to everyone listening, stay curious, keep experimenting, and never underestimate how powerful it can be to, really connect with your audience.
Well said. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.
Thanks for joining us.